Hello viewers and welcome to part 7 of our Autosport coverage. So goodness, we're getting through it now. We're into the Tuna Class. We're having an extended video looking at the Tuna Class now. These are slippy, slidey cars which involve some drifting. So you're going to see me struggling a bit more with this car because I am not a drifter in the slightest. I put my hand up. It's not my bag. I never have been. However, I will endeavour to demonstrate some of these cars here and again without practicing it all and getting it all perfect. I wanted to show, so there will be more mistakes than usual in these videos, but I will say these cars are very challenging to drive. I enjoy driving them a great deal. They do require quite a bit of practice. There's a lot of rear wheel power there, so I'm actually trying to control it a fair bit. You can see there, that's a corner I would normally slide around on grid 2, so I took that corner exactly as I would on grid 2 and it didn't work for me. So you can't quite throw the car in the same way. I'm sure the developer will see that and will understand fully. I wonder if this is easier with the pad than with the wheel. It's certainly very challenging with the wheel in terms of drifting. As I go wide, come on, keep it straight over turn 1. I know I've got cars close behind me now. I don't want them getting in my way. In this time attack mode that we're racing here, you do want to maximise your time for your best lap each time. And so I know with that mistake now I really want to put in some better laps. This time you'll see I'm going to be a bit more reserved on the final corner as we go up here. This is where I'm braking quite heavily on this section because I find that the car goes really wide, as you can see there, so next time I'll brake even more. Just trying to keep the car straight. If I turned in any more it would just spin out, and you can see just slowed down for that final corner. Loads of power in this car as we go on for our final lap of this particular race. A little bit slow that time. You just want to aim for that yellow curb, but if you cross the yellow curb you'll get a penalty warning, so you don't want to go too much over that. Worked well this time. Again here, getting a better feel for the car now on this lap. You can see I'm keeping it sliding, working much better for me. You want to lose a bit of traction with this car. Get it into a nice sensible slide. You've got to be really progressive with the acceleration using a wheel. It is quite tricky. And now again you can see slowing a bit more this time. So I've learned every lap. You see the first lap span out in that corner, second lap went a bit wide, third lap got it all together and put in my best lap there. So that was the first race to complete there. Worked well. And oh no, we have one more lap. So that's my Mansell moment again, and let's see how we get on this time. I have no idea now. I actually can't remember this. I was sure this was a 3-lap race, so no, we have one more lap then. Let's see how we get on here. Again, a bit more slide. So you see every time there's a bit more body language in the car. Closing up on these guys in front. Now, the closing speed on cars ahead tends to be very high indeed, and we have another lap after this one. So this was a 5-lap race. There we go. So again, that was nice. He went up the inside, so I wanted to just let the car drift wide. You can't correct. Once you reach a corner, you have to commit in these cars. You can't change direction very quickly in them, otherwise you will just spin out. If you've already committed to a corner, that's it. You have to control the steering with the power, otherwise you're going to spin out. So not getting the first corner right that time. I was trying a new technique, carrying a bit more speed into that corner, but it's one of those corners that's deceptive. You want to carry speed, but it's very tricky, and the penalty is high for making a mistake there. So closing up on another car now. I'm thinking please don't slow down here, and he doesn't. Lovely detail, nice detail on the environment though. You know, the Red Bull rings just had another splash of paint on it. Looks nice. Really nice to see the lighting looking fantastic as ever on the PC. All runs so well from Codemasters. I mean, their triple screen PC gaming is amazing. Their graphics engine is fantastic, and to think it's going to get better when we see the new formats, the mind boggles. So that's the end of that race. Finally, we got there in the end. That's the end of that race, and very enjoyable it was as well. Now we're going to drifting. This was really tricky. I was like, wow. I'm going to need to learn this one. So this will take time. This is not going to be a drifting demonstration. every time I do this run, I try different techniques. So I don't know what gear I'm supposed to be in. I don't know how fast I'm supposed to be going. You know, you're kind of snaking down the straights. The drift guys from the original grid will know there's a learning process here. I only played the original grid with a pad because it worked for me with a pad at the time. So the drifting really worked well for me. It seems a lot more difficult with a wheel than a pad. And drifting in a lot of these games generally is. So it'll be interesting to see, and somebody may have heard that tone there. Unfortunately, my PC has a slight issue which freezes my PC here, but it will come back. There we go. And that puts me off, unfortunately, in this first corner, because I was thinking, what's wrong with the PC? That's what happened in my previous video. For some reason, there's been a driver update for the graphics card, and it keeps pulling the TV out and putting it back in again in some way. It's a bit of a strange one. But either way, that's kind of thrown me off my rhythm now. And if there's one thing about this drift thing, is that as soon as you lose your rhythm and you lose your momentum, it's impossible getting it back again. You can try on this final part of the course, but I think I go a bit too quick in here. That's it. No, not too bad. So we get it back there. Again, the car spins out really easily on this final corner. It's one of those corners where really, I suppose, if you've got it right, you're already wanting to be doing opposite lock on the way into the corner. So you're sort of swinging the car back rather than turning into it. So my technique would need to be refined there. But the only way you do that is by lots and lots of practice. It's like playing Gymkhana for the first time. You've got to get your head around Gymkhana in Dirt 3. And then once it clicks, it's easy. I mean, I was doing Gymkhana all the time and it came very naturally to me. But first I just had to understand how you control a constant slide, and, you know, I mean, I suppose there's a difference between the drift and a slide. I mean, a slide is what you get when you're turning into a corner and the wheels come out from under you, and a drift is a controlled acceleration into a corner. So it's making sure you've always got control of the car between those two elements, as I lose control there. But again, that's, if you get your entry wrong on the first section, then you'll need to work on that in the second section. And I've tried to make up some time there, and it's not worked for me. So that's the end of that one. That was a bit of a fail. But I thought, no, I'm not going to restart. I'm going to get through these and show you guys so you can see the challenges of learning them. It's a very different style of play compared to, you know, when I've just jumped from the touring cars or, you know, the street cars into this. It's a completely different handling model. Again, we're trying again here, trying to get in tight. No, that didn't work for me at all. I'd already lost momentum in the first section there. So again, this is tricky because you want to get in early, but the car just went a bit wide. It didn't get in where I wanted it to. No, hit the bollard, I believe, there. So that gave me 1 star. Don't want to hit those bollards. Again, this is a tricky one because you come in very fast, so you've got to judge your entry, and if you go too fast, that happens. And the line between doing it perfectly and not doing it perfectly is quite slim. But it's nice. We like this challenge. We like this challenge. We just don't like this challenge when we're showing it on YouTube. But hey, it's got to be done because I want to show just how hard it is. Just getting on the power again there. I just got on the power too quickly, and you've got to come right out. You've got to be really progressive. So what we're seeing here is all the different rounds that you go through. So you go through all the different competitors, and then you get to the top man, who would be incredible at this, and then you work your way on. And this all forms part of your XP and your experience throughout the whole thing. And we're going to look at all of that later. So every time I've done a run here, I've tried a different technique. I've done a different gear, different style of corner. And on these next few runs, you're going to see me bringing some of that together so that I form a neater run in terms of approach and how best to get through it. What a stressful experience. Goodness, drifting. It is amazing in real life. I've been in a drift car, and I had a guy, a European champ, take me around Brands Hatch a few years ago. It really was an experience, going sideways around Druids. It really was an experience to remember. Enjoyed it a great deal. So I think we're in the last couple of runs now. Again, as I say, just applying a bit more of that experience just to keep it a bit neater now based on what we've seen as I go a bit wide there. Just out. And you already know before you've got there that you've carried too much speed in there. But I'm realising obviously that you keep your chain going if you're snaking down the straights now and stuff like that. It is so tricky. But I enjoy it. I enjoy it. As I say, it's a lot like learning Gymkhana in dirt. Once it clicks, it clicks. But going from car to car to car, it's tricky just to move from one to another. I was slightly put off at the end there. That was it. My keyboard fell on the floor. It actually vibrated off the actual stand. So let's see how we do this time. This should be a bit neater. That's it now. So I've got those first two corners. Cones. That's it, working well this time. The back end didn't get out as I'd like, but I'm keeping it in a very low gear this time. I'm thinking let's just keep the wheels spinning. If the wheels are spinning, then I can drift it at a slow speed. That's it, it's better. It's always nicer to drift at a higher speed, but at the same time, in terms of learning, I think starting at a slow speed and then progressing from there, I think, is the way to go. We're nearly there. Exhausting. Here we go then. I believe this is the final run now. So I've made a mistake on the first corner straight away. Tried to carry too much speed and then you just can't get it back again now. Go up into second. But not taking third that time. Oh, it didn't take me out. That's handy, but back end just sort of snaps out. Very tricky. Very tricky indeed. And now wanting to get in early to this cone. Come on. And here. Oh no. It just comes out so easily that time. I didn't want that to happen. I wanted that to be a clean final run, but it meant backing out the power entirely, which meant you lose the chain. So I was hoping to try and swing it, but it didn't work for me. It's over and we're through the drifting. I tell you, that was hard work. But decent points in the end, and onto the final section of the tuned, sort of first stage of the tuned career. We're going around Indianapolis. We're back on a road circuit, and straight away the car feels really strange because we go to this car in the Red Bull sort of ring, and we find it's really sort of slidey and tricky to drive. Then we go to the drift event where it's really, really tricky to drive and sliding around. And then we come back here and it suddenly feels like a grip car compared to what we've been used to. So I actually found that from a skills perspective, it developed my skills a lot going through the drift section to go to here. So it's a really good difficulty curve those guys have put together here. This is the most tricky corner on the circuit. Car slides, tends to spin out from under you there. But I'm hammering it round now. I'm really enjoying this. Again, you know, the circuit looks great, runs really well, circuit looks great, lots of detail, great feeling of speed, and the body language of this car was really good fun. Not classically what I like, but certainly I found it very entertaining to drive. I might not be the best at this one because of the nature is different to my driving, which is more of a grippy driver, more of a formula driver than or a touring car driver than a tuner racer like this. But it worked well for me, and I just liked the throttle control that it gives you. There's lots of throttle control there, so that's why it was working well. High speed. And the start finish straight. Loads of power. And again, round again. You need to scrub off a lot of speed for that turn one. And again here, the car goes very wide on the exit, so you just want to make sure you have lots of room to move on to. When you get on that power, it's really going to push wide with the power, so just trying to work out where he's going. So we go around the outside, that worked well. Didn't want to shift up there. I didn't want to unbalance the car once it was already committed to that particular slide. You can change gear, that can alter the traction, so we don't want to do that once we're already drifting into a corner. And again here, the car just didn't come out quite the way I would like. It came out a bit too much at the back end. I was wanting a bit more of a controlled drift into it, but it didn't work for me. And again, just controlling the back end through here. This is tricky as well. I mean, this would normally be a flat out corner, but you can sometimes lift a little bit there because the car can spin out or certainly loses a lot of traction on that corner. So be warned, very tricky there. And now we go round onto the final lap, I believe. I can't tell because I can't actually see what we're working with here. Down into turn 1 again. Find your brake marker that works for you. Worked perfectly for me there. So that's the perfect line into that corner. And now we're closing on the, well, he just looked like a leader to me. I just wanted to close up onto the next car. And working well. And going up on the inside. Closed up on him very quickly. I wasn't expecting to close up on him there at all. I thought he was going to go through that corner ahead of me. Slowed a lot on the apex, and that's where the AI is just a bit difficult to judge at the moment. The closing speed was very high on that corner, so sent me off. And that was quite frustrating at the time, so I thought, damn, nice clean run, and it's just slipped out of my fingers. But either way, a lot of fun, and I'll definitely be recording more videos on this when I've learned it all and got the hang of these cars and stuff like that. Around that guy, and just spinning out there. So I just lost control there. I'd lost a bit of flow. I think that's what it is with these cars. I mentioned earlier, because of the way they're sliding each corner, you need a certain amount of momentum, and as soon as you make a mistake on one corner, it can mess up the next few corners. So that's a bit frustrating, but I did enjoy the run, and we'll definitely be running more of that on a later build. But I hope you've enjoyed this extended Tuna video. If you have any questions, do put them below, and I'll try and get onto all I can, but there'll be more from me very soon.